We're always told that excellence in our careers comes from striving, from the hustle, the grind, acquiring more skills. But what if that's not the whole story?
Our source material comes from Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris.
To a devotional source that completely flips that idea on its head. It frames excellence not as a goal, but as something called a kingdom culture.
That's exactly right. And our mission here is to unpack what that actually means. We're looking at excellence as something you express simply because of who you are, not something you have to, exhaust yourself trying to achieve. And it all centers on this one verse, Daniel 6.3, which talks about having an excellent spirit.
Okay, so let's get into that core premise because it really goes against the grain of, everything we hear. The material basically says that excellence is the Father's nature. So if you're born of Him, you don't really strive for it. You do excellent things. It's an output, not an effort.
And that's the distinction that gives you an edge that skills alone can't provide. Think about it. Chasing excellence is like being on a professional treadmill. It's endless. But if it's an internal expression, it automatically places you above, just average work. It's a spiritual foundation.
Right. So if identity is the engine here, then the example of Daniel becomes really, really important. The text points out that he was elevated above all the other leaders in Babylon. So is that just because he was smarter or a better politician?
No, and the source is very explicit about this. It wasn't his connections, not his politics, not even just raw talent. It was, and I'm quoting here, because an excellent spirit was in him. And that spirit translated into practical things like consistency, character. He was just so dependable that the king couldn't afford to lose him.
So it's a kind of integrity that the system itself just has to acknowledge, which means this whole framework is a complete rejection of being average. The material even connects this to 1 Peter 2.9 about being called to show forth glory. So just blending in isn't really an option.
Precisely. You're called to be distinct. And in that context, being excellent meant you were utterly trustworthy. And, that's priceless in any setting, isn't it? But that does raise a big question. How do you bridge this, divine idea with the day-to-day grind?
I think the source tries to answer that by focusing on manifestation. It points to 2 Peter 1.3, which talks about glory and virtue, and it defines that virtue as excellence. It has to show up in practical ways. Your vision, how you talk, your appearance, how you do your work, and even your punctuality. That one stood out to me.
Punctuality, right? It seems so small. But it's about diligence, not necessarily perfection. The logic is that if your commitment to excellence is real, it's going to show up in the tiny details. That precision is a sign of your internal order, of the standard you represent.
And that has to completely change your motivation then. We're so used to performing for a manager or for a client review.
It shifts everything. The idea is you manifest that precision and dependability, not because people are watching, but because you represent the kingdom. So excellence becomes a part of righteousness itself. The focus isn't on pleasing people. It's just on expressing your nature.
So every single task, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to show that you're diligent, that you're exceptional, because you are exceptional.
Exactly. It's a demonstration of your identity.
And that really wraps up our dive. This material reframes professional excellence completely. It moves it away from being a business strategy you learn and makes it a spiritual identity you have to express in everything, from the big vision down to, just showing up on time.
So a final thought for you to take away. If every task, no matter how routine, is an opportunity to express this divine excellence, how does viewing your next deadline or even just your next email through that lens of diligence and distinction, how does that change your approach this week?
We trust you were blessed by this episode. To gain unlimited access to Rhapsody of Realities by Pastor Chris, please download the Rhapsody app using the link myapp.rhapsodyofrealities.org. God bless you.